Good day, everyone. So, what are some of the Honkai Impact combat ideas that we can use in Genshin? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. And to do that, I'm going to fire up, obviously, Honkai Impact here in the background. We're going to be looking at the event Hot on the Trail, and immediately you can notice something called a score. So, right here at the bottom, you can see my cumulative score, and obviously, the more score, the more goodies. But at the end of it, there is a prize waiting. So, there's actually an incentive to play the combat event. Now, what you'll notice as well is that we've got a leaderboard, so I can actually compare my efforts against the rest of the server, which is such a strong incentive for you to keep on pushing and being the best you can be. But in any case, so how this combat event works is you've got different zones, and each zone obviously plays on a different theme, and within each zone you've got free combat like events, and these events obviously limit the pool of characters you can use. So as you can see on screen, if you don't have the requisite characters, obviously trial characters are provided. So in a certain sense, some of these things we are kind of used to. We've seen this type of formula before in Genshin, but here is now actually where the real fun begins. So with the combat zone, you can choose buffs beforehand, and how you layer some of these buffs can have quite a dramatic effect in terms of how fast you can clear this, and obviously what type of score you can get. So there is a bit of RNG, and obviously if you get some good RNG you can put up a very good score. So in that sense, because of the little bit of a roguelike fashion, the variable buffs that you can get, this event immediately has an aspect of replayability to it. There's a skill stage effect, there's so many different effects that are happening in the background that whilst the gameplay might seem simple, there's quite a bit of strategy if you are going to go for that top score, or if you just want to see how much you can improve your rotation, your understanding of the game, and so on. That to me is what's just so exciting. What you'll also notice here on the screen is that I have my score meter there in the left hand corner, but I also have something right here at the bottom where my character's health is, and that is actually a visual indication of all of the stage effects, all of the buffs, even from my teammates that are being active. So whenever I play in combat, I often look down there just to see what is active, what the strategy should be, when I should be rotating, when a buff's expiring. All of these things are really quality of life features that can honestly come to Genshin. Some people might argue, but it's just going to clutter the game, in which case I'll say, look at this game. This is primarily a mobile game, Honkai Impact, and you can't argue that this is cluttering and detracts from the experience, because most people are playing Honkai Impact on mobile. So the clutter is really not a problem. I can't see, I know some people have raised that as an issue in the past, but from my side, it's just a non-issue. The more information and the more agency you give to players, the better things get. In any case, as you can see in the background, obviously I've got very strong characters, so I'm breezing through the event and we're going to get a relatively high score. And what's now really good about this event is that the higher your score, the more tokens you can get. So this is how this event works. Every single zone that there is has obviously a prescribed difficulty, but you can choose to get more and more buffs as you play the game. So right here at the end, you can get some coins, and what you can do with these coins is level up your zone. And as you obviously level up the zone, your character's obviously going to do more and more hits, so that obviously encourages you to then go and try and replay the event, get a higher score, and obviously go on the leaderboard. In any case, what I also like about the zone is something that I just want to quickly point out. You can see here, as I'm going to quickly scroll through all of the different zones, there is a set of recommended characters, and this is the thing that I wish Genshin Impact would do. So you have a set of recommended characters that if you play with these characters, you are guaranteed to get the optimal score. Obviously you can play with some other characters, but the point is that every character is highlighted. Every character gets their unique chance to be on the stage, and no other character, no Xiangling or Bennett, can beat them in terms of score. That's what I love about all of this. So for me, this is just so much fun, and I actually want to give you a bit of an example. So as you can see here in the background, I obviously am going to now go and fight this enemy. There is my favorite character, Alicia, and what I want to do is, just for this specific floor, I want to see if we can't get at least into the top 5 in terms of ranking. So you can get an event ranking, but you can also get a ranking for every single little stage in a zone. And that to me is just so good, because it gives you a different, like, it encourages you in different ways. So on the one hand, if you can't keep up with the whales in terms of the overall event, you might still be able to keep up in terms of a specific event where you might have pulled for, let's say, a C2 character, or you've got a really strong team just dedicated for that floor. And that is what I love. It's like you can either compete on an event-wide scale, or just in terms of each one of the mini events in and of itself. And that is just so much fun. I know people really don't like the idea of competition, but for me it's the type of thing that really forces you to think of rotations. It really forces you to think, but how can I improve my gameplay? And unfortunately, the idea that you just have a spiral abyss and you beat up enemies is not as good as actually seeing a score, understanding what the different things are that I can do to improve my score. I've got multiple waves of enemies, I've got multiple different buffs, so there is more strategy than just, oh, I'm going to use the big vaporize nuke, or I'm going to 360 spin to win Neuvillette, because in a game like this, cheese tactics like that are a lot harder to just get away with. There comes a point where a combination of skill and obviously money is going to matter, because I mean it's PvP, so obviously the more you pay, the higher your score. But even in that case, there is still an incentive for you to understand what you are doing. It's not just I press a bunch of random buttons, I do some button mashing like in Zenless Zone Zero. You actually have to sometimes think, you have to really manage all of these resources and buffs, and you can see it's quite a lot to take in on the screen, and how you manage it ultimately affects everything. So this is the type of gameplay I really would like to see in Genshin. It's something that is far more repeatable, it's replayable, it's not just the same monsters, and it allows every character to shine uniquely. That's what I love. And as you can see, I'm number 3 on the list. I'll still optimize, but see how much encouragement that is. I'm almost there at the top, so it's just so good. In any case, let me know what you guys think of this. Have a good evening. Cheers.